hello, my beautiful guys and dolls, and welcome to an episode of Before the Curtain. I'm your host, Abbie Campbell, and we are here to discover the passion behind the performance. Artists of all backgrounds will share their stories about what it takes to create, survive, and thrive in the competitive world of entertainment. Finding inspiration in their journeys, we aim to bring you everything that happens before the curtain. In the world of entertainment, most every show takes a curtain call. When the performers come back out on stage to acknowledge the audience's applause and take their final bow before that curtain closes, and I thought it would be fun to do one of our own. In this special segment, we are taking the most educational, inspirational, or wisdom-filled moments from our past episodes, bringing them back to the mic for a power-packed series. Here, you can get a glimpse into each guest, and if you want to dive deeper into their particular story, you can find the link to their episode in the description. So without further ado, let's give a big virtual welcome to our curtain call. I have a little bit of a serious question because after all of your years of experience, how do you still have such a heart on fire for dance?
When you're passionate about something, it will never die. Dance is just in our blood. I mean, and mind you, I started dancing at a very older age. When we moved here from the Philippines, I was barely 13, but we had just started dancing in Manila. My mom saw this dance company had a show on TV. It was like their big recital. It was televised and everything. She looked at us, me and my sister, and she's like, "Do you guys want to do that?" We're like, "Sure." They started taking dance classes, and we loved it. And the owners of the studio walked up to us one time. They're like, "Can we invite you guys to dance in our dance company?" And the dance company was their advanced students. And we were like, "Wish we could, but we're moving to the States." And that was the year we were leaving. And they were so bummed out. And we found a high school that we went to that had dance class. So we had dance class in the first period, and then we just kept going. And the teacher was looking at us. She goes, "You guys are really good. Y'all should come take class at Tremaine Dance Studio." And that's where she was training. That's what introduced us to Tremaine. So I was in my late teens by then, and there were like, talk about deer in headlights. We're staring at all these dancers and performers. Mind you, this is where all the celebrities go to take training from. Come on, it's Joe Tremaine. And everybody from all the TV shows you can imagine, we're checking them in because we were work studies. So we had to check people in. We take classes, we put in hours for work. And it was just like an eye-opener what the dance world was all about. And then a few years later, we continued our training there. I remember our first audition was the summer scholarship at Tremaine. And my sister and I both were like, "Let's give it a try. Why not?" We have no idea what we're getting ourselves into. We got selected, and it was a 2-month summer scholarship program. And we were just loved it. And we were training, and then a dance agent showed up in one of the classes, and she was actually auditing one of the dancers that invited her to come see him because he was looking for dance representation. And that year we had just done Star Search. Now, for those people that don't know what Star Search is, it was the original America's Got Talent. It was with Ed McMahon. They had dancers, singers, and comedians, and actors, and models. It was the whole thing in the industry you can imagine. So dancers were featured in that competition show so many times, so highlighted, and it was so fun. And I was just like, at that time, the agent was like, "I want to represent you." I'm like, "Actually, I'm in work study. I can't be represented by an agent yet, but my sisters and I danced on Star Search. Here's our tape." So cheesy. Fast forward a year later, my boyfriend was meeting with that agent, and he had gone home, and he was like, "You've got to get in touch with my agent. She's so busy and they need help." There was nobody there to answer the phones. And I said, "Okay." I called her up and I said, "I heard you might be looking for help." And she goes, "Yeah, why don't you come down and interview?" At that time, I was already in my early 20s. And I said, "Okay." And I'm waiting for her. She was late for our meeting. And the phones were ringing off the hook. Her assistant was going bananas. And I said, "Do you need help answering the phones?" She goes, "Yeah, just answer the phone this way." I said, "Okay." And then the agent walks in shortly after. She goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "She needs help, and I'm helping her answer the phones." She goes, "You're hired." Just like that. That's how she hired me. And her assistant thought I was there to get trained. She didn't know I was coming in for a job interview. So it was a fluke that happened. And then I ended up working at the agency for 10 years. I was her assistant for 10 years. And then I was like a junior agent. And that was my start in the dance world. So I was still going out on auditions. I was touring with an artist, and I would go travel. Well, we went to Japan. We were there for 10 days. When I came back, my agent was like, okay, it's time for you to make a decision. You still want to go out and audition for dance, or do you want to work at the agency full time? Because I can have you doing both. So I hung my dancing shoes at mid-20s. And I realized too at that time that a lot of the dance jobs were for tall dancers, 5'6" and up. That to me is tall because I'm short. I'm 5'2". And so when I go out in auditions, I was like, man, I'm never going to get cast because I'm not tall, blonde hair, blue eyes. And I'm not Asian looking enough when I get sent out for Asian jobs, but I booked more on Hispanics and light-skinned Black girls. I had spiral perm on my hair. And so I was like, okay, I booked more work in that sense. But then when she said, okay, you need to make a choice. So I said, I want to continue working at the agency. So I stopped dancing. And it was really good for me to make that transition because I would see all the dance clients at auditions. And I was dancing with them still when I would take classes. So when we'd prep auditions and stuff, I can realistically tell her, oh, that person might not be right for that job because they are not looking strong in that style of dance because I've seen them in dance classes. So that made the transition easy for me. And I really loved, talk about passion, even if I was not performing, just the joy of seeing dancers getting work, just seeing them get those dance jobs. And it was one of the perks that we would go see all these live concerts or tours and stuff because our clients are in them. So we get to see them. And not only was I running the dance department towards the last few years that I was at the agency, I ran the music department as well. So we had musicians that would tour with artists that would invite us to come see them. And we had dancers on the show. So it was like a one-stop shop. It was the best thing ever. So when I moved into casting, I was still casting dancers and singers. And then it became more into reality TV shows because reality TV started in the early 2000s. And I was just dabbling in everything, anything. But every time I came back to a dance job, I was like so excited.
That's really admirable of you to like let the people that you knew and worked for know that you're starting your own thing. I feel like it's probably really easy for people to just be like, I'm just going to do my own thing. Like, I don't need to let anybody know. Like, I'm just going to take the business, so that's really cool.
Right. And that's, in my contracts that you've signed, it's like if people ask you about work, you should come to me. And that's what I do when I'm on jobs with you. If people ask for our business card, I give them, the people that have hired us, their business card because that's how they know us. And sometimes our clients will say, sure, go direct. It's all good. Sometimes clients will say, no, let's make sure that we're together. And probably only a couple times in my entire career where a dancer got asked at a party direct by a guest, did it come back to sort of bite me? But again, that talent was very young and didn't really understand. It was just a princess party or it was just a whatever. But my client was furious. So I had to sort of say sorry, we didn't know, she didn't know.
Yeah.
Thing. But, we just have to be careful and be respectful that we're not, if a client calls me, if my client's client calls me direct, I call that client the very next phone call to say, hey, FYI, what's up? Because if you do that, if you become that person, if you become that vendor, very soon you will not have work because you have to be ethical. You have to be forthright so that people know we can trust, we can be on Zooms, we can be on Teams meetings with our client's client and be a shining star for them. And should something happen, we'll come right back to our client, that our client knows we have their back. Because again, you can be out of business and you can be blackballed really quickly in this town if that's the person that that you are. It's interesting. Talent say to me all the time, say nice things about me. And I say, I only say what you write. Be on time, be lovely, be sweet, be personable, be full out, lazy, not hardworking, not dependable. So be what you want people around you to say about you. And when this phone rings, you want people to be like, oh, it's Doug, as opposed to, oh, it's Doug. We don't want our legacy to be tombstones behind us, because it's a very small pool of people that actually really work. And, we all check up on each other. Hey, I see this person worked for you. How was it?
Mm-hmm.
So be what you want me to say.
Mm.
Don't be what you don't want me to say. I'll never be unkind, but I will say this was my experience.
Mm-hmm.
Hardworking, easy, fun, always blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Careful,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's unfortunate.
Right. Well, that goes back to like the whole ethical thing. You're being honest of what your experience was. And it's cool to see how those values we've already explained how they have been woven into many parts of our conversation already. And it's cool. I love seeing those values that people hold and the way that like the branches, like the roots and the branches, that come off, and how they operate, what they say, what they believe, and how they, what they do. That's really cool. So what was it like? Okay, wait. I'm not gonna ask that question yet. How did you learn how to like write contracts or write proposals for clients as a new company?
So I remembered contracts that I had signed.
Mm,
I remembered contracts that, from film or TV, or like all of those things. I tried to pull things that I thought were important. And then I spoke with a lawyer, and my first sort of attempt at the contract was, I don't know, way too many pages. And a great lawyer at the very beginning said, fewer words, Doug, fewer words to argue about in court. Like,
mhm,
okay. So I just tried to be straight and to the point. This
mhm,
is what we're doing. This is what we're asking. However, there is a whole page, the last page of our contract, they're about the terms, the do's and don'ts. Don't say bad things on social media about the client. Don't show up with vulgar saying T-shirts, things that you would assume would be a no-brainer.
mm,
No.
mhm.
So that portion of my contract gets longer and longer every year, because people still shock the hell out of me, where I'm like, I have to tell you not to bring your child or your dog to the event.
Oh my God, wait, has that happened?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Just things that it's not possible. Yeah. Oh, I brought my husband to what?
Oh.
You know, well, I thought they could just sit in a seat. No, this is a gala. Every seat is like $2,500. Like, I'm sorry, they may have to sit in the car, or, if I can put them to work, then maybe I
Mhm.
can call them a PA. But yeah, yeah. But just, I try to find things that wasn't so mumbo jumbo,
Mhm.
wasn't so big words that
Mhm.
I couldn't understand it. If I can't understand it, then how would you understand it?
Mm,
If I have to have a lawyer to tell me what blah 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 blah. A
yeah.
lot of things now, because of social media. Again, the contracts that I'm signing
Mhm.
reflect the contracts that you signed, and in perpetuity and blah blah blah. With our photographs, and you know, we do a lot of high profile things, so Getty Images are there. Well, why is Getty Images selling pictures of my talent? We were at the Grammys. I get it, but I've argued about that to not so much success. I'm like, show me the waiver. But
Mm.
because we're out in that world, they seem to think that, you know, it goes with the territory if you're performing with a celebrity.
Uh-huh.
Sorta, but that that argument continues.
Was there at any point so far in the past 6 years, correct?
Yes.
Of the Twerk Team USA?
7. Yes.
7 years that you maybe something happened or you were just in a period where you were like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I want to quit.
Yes. Let's see. I think it's been more than once where I've had girls quit on me. Then I had like a show fall through. Then no one's coming to rehearsal. No one's motivated at rehearsal. Everybody's in like sluggish mood. No one's like happy to be there. And you have to be that person to be like, come on, guys, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try again. Like you have to be that engaging person that's like gives them hope or gives them that energy to make them want to do this, because we could just be at rehearsal like whatever, and then it's not fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially there's some points where we don't have anything going on for a couple months.
Yeah.
But we're still rehearsing every week. We're still getting ready for something. Like we always create things and then we sell it.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're putting together a piece called Dominatrix.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a dominatrix twerking piece. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have anything that we're performing it yet, right? There's nothing on the schedule. However, I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I still have to encourage people like to give it all, to be there, to dance it full out, even though there's no time. There's nothing scheduled for us to do this right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to figure it out. Like there was a time where we didn't have anything for a long time and we kept rehearsing this like 3 couple numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And we just put in our back pocket. And I'm not kidding. This one number I think has been now we constantly use it. And it's the gift that just keeps on coming.
Uh-huh.
Like we're constantly making money from it and it's great. But for 6 months, we didn't do anything with it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like see something when you have nothing going on,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
How did you get through that?
You know, I just said, it doesn't make me happy to get the gig.
Mm.
It makes me happy that I can twerk. Doesn't matter that I'm not booking the job.
Mm.
It doesn't matter that I have thousands of followers or that I'm getting paid this amount. What matters to me is I can twerk and I love the way twerking makes me feel. And that's what's going to keep me going. So
I'm sorry, I just needed to sit. I need to sit in that statement because we just work so hard just to get the gig. You know what I mean? We just, that's all we want. That's why we go to auditions. That's why we keep showing up, is to get the gig. And it can be draining and we can find yourselves in those dry spells where there's, again, 6 months with nothing. But it's like, how do you have that reminder and have that strong foundation of like, yeah, being happy is not getting the gig. Getting the gig doesn't make me happy. Like doing what I love does.
Yeah.
And I just love that. Sorry, I just have to sit in that for a second because wow.
Thank you. Yeah, because I've wanted to quit multiple times. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I also think I put pressure on myself for my team members. Like, we haven't gotten a gig or we haven't gotten anything for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And they're kind of like, maybe they're thinking, why am I doing it? You know, it's just thoughts that are going in my head because I want to make sure that everyone's happy, that everyone wants to be here, that everyone wants to do it. And because we've gotten gigs before, we can do it again. But right now we're not. But that's not why we're here, right? We're not here to book a job.
Mm-hmm.
We're here because we want to twerk.
Mm-hmm.
We all love it. And that's why we're here.
Yeah. That pressure's got to be hard.
Yeah. It can be very hard. So I've tried to look at other ways to make money in order to feel fulfilled. Like right now we're doing that 4-week twerk workshop. So, and every week we have a different teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So we had Bugs the first weekend. I'm going to say their nickname because that's what we go by when we do twerking. And then we had Legs the second week. We have me this week. And then it will either be me or Sissy next week. I don't know who, but everyone gets a chance to experience every girl. But like something like that. Okay, well, that's not another opportunity for us to get out there and get paid, you know?
Yeah.
Doesn't just have to be a performance.
Right. And like that also spreads, I'm going to use the word awareness, spreads the awareness, the education of what you guys are doing, what you guys actually like believe in.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that's great. Yeah. When you really start to do something that's close to your heart or really comes from your heart, it's amazing how easy things can be.
Yeah.
You just gotta apply yourself and give yourself a chance. You know, I did an audition a couple days ago, and it's a good project. It's a really good project. It pays well. Well, I sent my audition in, and the gentleman didn't like my audition.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "You're too stiff. You need to be relaxed."
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was relaxed on the second one, but once again, he didn't like the second one either.
Mm.
And I could have easily given up.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he said, "We're moving on.
Mm-hmm.
You're not what we're looking for."
Yeah.
Well, I knew that I had it in me. You know, I know that I'm a good actor. I know that I can deliver, and I knew that I could get this done. But I decided, he sent me the script, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to read the script. And that'll give me a good idea of what he's looking for. And sure enough, I woke up in the morning and I knew exactly what he was looking for.
Mm-hmm.
So I added a layer,
Mm-hmm.
which was he wanted me to be relaxed
Mm-hmm.
as an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good attorney. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to use a cup of coffee to relax me. So that's what I did. I used the cup, take a few sips, and then get into the audition.
Mm.
Well, he loved it,
Oh,
and I
okay.
got the role
How?
because of my tenacity and because I didn't give up.
I love that.
And so my motto is, don't ever give up on anything. Go by your instincts. You have to go by your instincts. You just never know what's going to happen. I went by my instincts because I knew. And I sent an email. I said, look, I think I know what you're looking for, and I think this is what you're looking for. Third time's a charm. If you don't like it, I understand.
Yeah.
He came back. It was wrapped. That was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So, yeah. And you just never know. Always go by your instincts.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a commercial late last year, and it was an NBA commercial. And the director told us, we were background, and he told us, I want you guys, this was the last scene part, by the way, I want you to run towards the NBA players. And then they were going to do their thing, right? And I thought, you know what? A light bulb clicked in my head at that moment in time and said, run like hell.
Yeah.
So that's what I did.
Yeah.
I ran like hell. I was the first one up there.
Mm-hmm.
A few days after that commercial, I was going to end up having to apply for unemployment because I didn't know where I was going to get money from.
Mm-hmm.
I was literally out of money. I got a letter in the mail from the production company from that NBA commercial, and they said, Mr. Name, we're bumping you up from featured background to a principal role, and you'll be getting residuals.
Hell yeah.
And it was amazing. And it was because of that instinct that I went by. My instinct said, run like hell and be the first one up there. What have I got to lose? The director's going to go back and say, get your ass back over there and get back in line.
Right. He's going to say, we're going to take that again, and this time, don't do that.
Exactly. And that never happened.
Yeah.
And so I went by what I believed, and lo and behold, I got residuals, and it's just been an amazing trip ever since then.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That was a gift from God. It was amazing. And ever since then, I don't know. It's just been great for me. I keep booking roles. This example I just gave you of being persistent. Yeah, it's not going to work all the time, but I made it work.
Mm-hmm.
I made it work because you just got to take chances sometimes.
And my mom, strong, single mom, was just like, do me a favor, just get a trade, and then you can do anything you want to do. But the thing is, where is the stopping point? When have you earned the right to do anything you want after you've gotten the trade?
Mm-hmm.
So I never was able to find that point where I was allowed to do something as decadent as, maybe going to school, in my 20s for performing or something like that. So I just kind of kept doing skincare.
Because you felt like you got the trade and you were like, well, I might as well use it? Or like...
It's just, that was the practical decision.
Okay.
And performing, especially anywhere other than Vegas, where it's not really a way that you can necessarily pay your bills,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like more and more of a lofty idea. And as time went and you're living this normie kind of muggle existence, and you've started telling yourself that you might not be very good at it because that's your little internal, subconscious reel that's playing in your head all the time. And you haven't gone to school, and so you're pretty green. You just know that you have this deep longing and desire. There's kind of no way out. But there were a lot of days where I would literally be giving someone a facial and just sobbing because I knew it wasn't a fit. And estheticians are, I think I could say this, and any esthetician would not be insulted, but they're very driven individuals. And so in a lot of places, especially here, it's kind of a dog eat dog sort of thing. There's a lot of money to be had. There's a lot of competition. Sometimes there can be undercutting. And I would use that information and how it made me feel to say, oh, then you definitely could not be a performer, because if you think this is cutthroat, imagine what it must be like to be a performer. There's just no way.
You're kind of validating your choices.
100%.
Like subconsciously.
Yes.
And within beliefs that weren't ones you created.
Absolutely.
They were given to you.
Right. Well, how often do we hear from people who are on the outside, when are you going to get a real job? Or, I think we've all heard little quips about the lack of practicality in our job. And when you're not surrounded by other creatives, it's really easy to adopt that thought process and go, yeah, dude, you're absolutely right. Let me stick with what I know. Because now, I'm in my 30s. At that point, I'm a full grown adult and I have a career and I should feel so lucky. And, how am I going to step away and, metaphorically join the circus? You know what I mean? So let's just stay in your lane and just cry on people's faces. Not really.
You need tissue? No. I got someone else's face. It's fine.
Serum. It's serum.
It's serum. Oh no.
Never happened. I want to go on record as saying that never happened. I kept the tears to myself.
That's hilarious. But no, it's true. Even now, being a full-time performer for years, I still meet people that are like, oh, what do you do? I'm a performer, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, I used to do a lot of hustle, but then one day I grew up. And I was like,
do you realize how that sounds when you say that to someone who is choosing not to, quote unquote, grow up?
I'm like, well, I'm never going to grow up because I love it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
I'm like, that's your story. That's what you chose. You do you.
That's
as long as you're happy now, that's all that matters. But yeah, that can be, isolating when you have no one around you encouraging you or doing the same things as you. Has there been any point that you have come across, whether it was a point of feeling burnt out from doing too much or struggling to get a gig, that you felt like you kind of just wanted to quit and leave your career path behind?
There was one moment briefly in my very, very early music career where I had put this band together specifically to be what was called at that time a show band. And I had long conversations with my agent, and he started to map out some plans for me opening a show in a big theater for a name performer. If I remember correct, I think it was supposed to be Robert Goulet, and my band was going to open, and I was the feature of the band. So I had worked really hard putting this band together, putting the show together. It was all on me. They were all they were hired musicians and hired singers and, great people, good vibe, good band. And right when I felt we were at that point where, we had done just a couple of little gigs around town, where now the agent was happy with what he saw, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's okay. We're gonna make this move. I'll get you the opening for this show. There was an individual in the band that, for whatever reason, and I still don't know to this day, but they basically stole my band. They just took the band. I literally didn't have a band anymore. I was like, what just happened? And I was I literally couldn't get out of my chair for about 2 days. I was like, everything I had worked for like 6 months, was just gone in an instant, like literally like that. And I had to call the agent and tell him, I don't have a band. Right. So, yeah, it was this crazy experience. And thank God for my wife, she got me through it. It was rough. It was a really rough couple of days and maybe even longer. I don't even remember. But again, it's one of those life experiences. You look back on it and you go, you know what? That wasn't so important.
Mhm.
What was important about that was me and my wife. That's what was important about that.
Mhm.
That whole career thing, that didn't matter really at that time.
Mm.
I thought it did,
Yeah.
right? And when you're young, you think, oh my God, this is the moment, right?
Mhm.
And if it doesn't happen, you just get crushed, okay? But when you look back on it in hindsight, you see, okay, this is why that happened,
Mhm.
This is what was meant to be.
Mm.
So that's basically my philosophy nowadays. I'm here exactly where I'm supposed to be, doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And all the mistakes and stupid things that I did in the younger years, those were all meant to happen too, to learn a lesson,
Mhm.
and just keep stepping forward.
Mhm.
That's all. Just keep moving forward.
Mm. Yeah.
And with that, I find myself on a movie set with Al Pacino and Vince Vaughn, and I'm having an unbelievably great time. Right. So how did I get there?
Yeah.
Right. It was everything that went before.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I can remember going to see every Al Pacino movie in the theater and just being like, oh man, it's so good, and then to meet him, to work with him, to converse with him, just an absolute joy. And Vince as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easy to get caught up in one thing. That was the break. That's my big moment. And then not realize that, again, that wasn't meant for you because there's all these other things
Yeah.
that either are coming that you don't know of yet that can bring you 10 times cooler and more fun, maybe more fulfilling experiences and stories than
Yeah.
that one thing ever could.
Exactly. Because what if that thing would have taken off? My path would have gone that way.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Not this way.
Mhm.
Not that would have been bad, but it would have been different.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Right? Fate, so to speak, or whatever. God, his will. But, to be on set with those guys for a month last year, oh, God, what a joy.
Mhm.
I couldn't wait to get to work, and we had some long days.
Mhm.
We had one day where we did 17 hours.
Oh.
Al was there for about 9, maybe 8 or 9, but we
Mhm.
were there for 17.
Mhm.
Vince was there for 17. And he keeps his energy up, and he's positive. He's such a positive force, always encouraging to everybody.
Mhm.
If somebody would stumble with a line, oh, you're all right, go ahead, do it again,
Mhm.
just super encouraging. I couldn't have asked for a greater experience. And the crew was phenomenal too.
Mhm.
All the production assistants. It was literally like you're going, is this really happening? Because there was like no negativity at all. It was all a extremely positive experience to work with everybody at the super top level. I mean, our writer-director was Nick Pizzolatto. He's the creative force behind HBO's True Detective.
Mhm.
Big, huge series.
Mhm.
Okay. Our cinematographer, Nigel Block, Lord of the Rings cinematographer, right?
Mhm.
Super great guy. And his crew was phenomenal. I've never seen a crew switch setups so fast. And they're working with 2 and 3 cameras.
Mhm.
One of the camera was on the telescopic jib.
Oh, okay.
Okay. The big machine.
Mhm.
Okay. That rolls the camera in.
Yeah.
And they're moving that stuff around like you couldn't believe how they were changing setups. I just couldn't believe it.
Wow.
And then Vince and Al and all the rest of the cast. Shania Twain was a sweetheart. She was on the film. We had chatted with her in the green room. Colby Smulders was there. Who else? Can't remember. But just everybody. The background actors were happy to be there. They were having a blast. Vince would interact with them and make them feel good about being there. Thanks for coming, everybody. Stuff like that. That's what makes a set worthy of being there for 17 hours.
Mhm.
Where you're not going home feeling like, oh my God, I've just been tortured.
You're right.
You've actually it's been uplifting and you almost have an adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
So it was phenomenal.
So how was the transition from being a dancer here in the city to being a choreographer here in the city? Or still doing both? 'Cause
No, not at all.
Because
Because there definitely has been a transition. Because for the large part of my time here in Las Vegas, I was always in shows full time, and so that has been a transition for me by choice. And I think because I've been really strong in my convictions in following my heart without being too cliche, and just my intuition of where I want to go next, I always kind of knew when my time was ready to shift with wherever I was. So again, when I was performing full time in shows, I was still always like creating for companies, production or entertainment companies. So I was able to kind of transition really smoothly. But I've also always been a person who enjoys the challenge of pushing myself artistically, creatively, and just personally to grow in whatever capacity I'm in, whether it's in a show. Like, where can I get? I would love to be able to teach this material. I would love to lead. I would love to just grow within the company that I'm working with at that time. That's always been important to me, whether it was with Royal Caribbean, starting as a dancer, aerialist, and then rehearsal director. I've always liked to really push myself and not just stay stagnant. For me, it looks different for other people, but for me, I've always felt like I enjoy bringing people together, if that makes sense, like a connector, whether that's in a leadership role or choreographer, director role. I really just enjoy people and bringing them together and like, let's create something. So it's been a really cool transition because I'm still around it. I get to still be around what I love the most, even if it's in a different capacity or on a different canvas. I'm still around it. So that's special.
Was it hard to dip your toes into choreography when you first moved here?
You definitely had to put yourself out there, but I came from building and putting up large-scale production shows for Royal Caribbean and just my past in different companies and being a dance captain or whatever. So I always felt like I had that in me to create and lead. Not all dancers want to even choreograph. So it's, you know what I mean? Like a lot of dancers like, I don't want to do that. I don't know how to even start. I don't know how to get there. But for me, it was always such an obvious thing that I wanted to do. So when I got here, I just think I made the right connections and I spoke with the right people and cultivated relationships that were important and put myself out there and said, hey, I'd love to do this for you. Let me know if there's an opportunity. And then when there is an opportunity, it's just making sure that you're delivering, and I always really took that very seriously, whatever I was working on. It didn't matter if it was an event for 50 people for a birthday party at someone's house or at the MGM Grand Garden Arena for 10,000 people or the National Finals Rodeo. They're all important for me. They are all really important and they all deserve the same energy and creativity. And how can I dive into this and make this unique for this event in this place at this time?
That's a lot. So far, I've talked to, I feel like, a lot of directors, choreographers, producers, and that's what all of them have they all kind of agree.
Yeah.
You got to put the same amount of energy into one just as the other.
Yeah.
No matter, what it is, because everybody deserves that special uniqueness.
That's it.
Whatever
and
it may be.
I think it is exposing when you don't. I think it's obvious when you don't, when it's kind of phone it in. And I've certainly never been somebody to phone it in. Again, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse either. Sometimes it can be a little tiring, but at the end of the day, like you have to be proud of what you're presenting and the client has to be proud and everyone has to feel good about what's happening in the space. And that also comes down to the group of people that you're working with too, and I am somebody who can I feel pretty deeply. So even in a rehearsal space or a class space, if I'm teaching, I can like kind of sift through the energy in the room and kind of know where I need to take that group of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's going to resonate with them or what they need or to make it feel good.
Yeah. I love that. And that's cool. And it shows. And that's why you guys are so successful.
Thank you.
Because you guys put your heart into everything that you do. And again, it shows.
Thank you.
And that's amazing.
Thank you.
Because it takes a certain intuition, certain connection to who you are and what you know you can create in order to do that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for sure. And it's definitely, you kind of hit it on the head until you can really kind of go there within yourself. It's tricky because there are always going to be self-doubt things, even when it looks like there aren't, right? Social media, guys, careful. Or the people that you think have it together all the time. I still get nervous. I still go, God, is this good enough? Oh my gosh, did I create this well enough? Is this piece of music going to work? Are they going to accept me? Is this something like, are they going to hire me again? And sometimes that can be like surprising to people, but we're human, right? So, and that's when I think when you lose that, you should not question yourself, but trust yourself, of course, but just like question, like, is this the best that I can be doing for this particular project? And not do it out of ego and more for the like gratitude of the opportunity, because they don't always show up. It's not about what I can put on dancers so that I look good. It's not even about me in that moment. It's about the end product, and it's about the client or the show or whatever it is. So I think we have to be really careful in the creative world to not let that creep in too much, or else it creates a block.
It's almost the difference between like the finding separation between the insecurity and then the bird's eye view.
For sure.
Like not letting it come from, is this the best that I can do out of insecurity? Is this the best that I can do from a outside like perspective of knowing what I can deliver?
That's exactly it. And when you get there, it's such a cool perspective, and you got to just kind of like knock the bad things, the self-doubt off and go, no, trust yourself. I've done this before. There's a reason I'm in this position again. So like, go for it. Let the music take you where you need to go and like see it.
So what keeps you going with Boujee Block?
I think being a dancer definitely helps. Like actually having the love of dance and like watching dance. Like, I don't know. Then it goes back to the possibilities thing too. Like, I want to see every different variable like happen, And also like I've been really bringing a lot of people from other states and cities out to like participate in our events, and I think that is so cool to me, to like kind of drop in an X factor into something that we're so used to, and like showing people that there is a different flavor or style out there, that they might not be familiar with, or even just a dancer that is dope out there that they might not be familiar with. I love to showcase new talent. I love to give people new platforms to express themselves, like all of it.
And when you say people from out of state to come participate, do you mean like judge or dance in?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think I really like to have them come and dance and like battle, because I feel like, I don't know. Me personally, I feel like it's cool if our whole city gets beat by one person that just came out here from nowhere. That's like, dang, we have work to do. But then they throw a workshop the next day. That's so cool to me. Like, okay, let's see what just happened last night, and let's see, what are they going to teach us that they did that can help make us better, But yeah, I just think there's so much like to learn, and there's a lot of examples out there of like just how to apply your style differently, how to like a whole bunch of different things. So many different things. I love it. Yeah.
Well, like, it's cool because that becomes also a passion of yours to educate.
In a different way than teaching directly, I guess, right? Like, no, yeah, definitely. I think bringing teachers out here is one of the best ways that I like can help educate, because I don't know. I don't know if like we just had this teacher, Queen P, teach a dance style called Beat Your Feet, right? Which is native to the DMV area. I'm sure like not a lot of people have even heard of it before, right? But for her to bring that out here and educate people on a style that's not from here, you know, that you might not know about, like
I
that's
haven't heard of it.
It's right, crazy, huh? It's like a footwork based style, based out the DMV area. So that's like Washington D.C., Maryland, and like Virginia, I believe. So it comes from there. It's like they do it to go-go music, which is like drums and bass. It has a lot of culture to it. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I think like there's a lot of different cities that have their own dance style, you know? And to bring it to Vegas, like that's so crazy. And now we have dancers here that are doing that style from Washington D.C., you know? So it's like a exchange of culture also, and like a spreading, like a cultural appreciation thing as well, you know? Like I love that too. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That's really dope. And that adds such a cool new layer to a battle. Because a battle can just be a battle, but it can also be a massive learning
that was just a workshop
tool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in what other ways would you envision Boujee Block to grow or do more? Because I know you sounded like you had a lot of ideas earlier.
I mean, I definitely want to scale it. I don't want to hold myself to just events, for sure. I feel like there's so much more possibility than that. Even throwing workshops lately, like I would love to do that more, you know? But I think just being a platform is probably the biggest goal, and just scaling that. So like being the biggest platform for street dance in the world, hopefully one day, right? But like, yeah, just even if it's not that, just hopefully working to put Vegas on, to help educate Vegas. Yeah, all that. I think I've explored I really want to explore like the back end of the dance industry as far as like the business side, and like even the potential of being like a dance agency. I know Vegas, it's like a little bit weirder for dance agencies out here than like somewhere compared to like LA, but representation is always good anywhere, right? Especially like, I don't know, to possibly represent or be an agency to represent street dancers, you know? I think that could be cool. But yeah, just providing more opportunities across the board, whether it's bringing a teacher out, booking dancers here for a job, like working with a bigger platform like Red Bull or something like that. Yeah, I don't want to limit it, but I definitely see like bigger things than what we're doing now, for sure.
Has there ever been a point in your career that you looked at the entertainment industry and said, I don't think I can do this anymore, because it was such a stressful or pressure-filled time for you?
Well, I never say I don't think I could do this anymore. There's too much of it that I love. But what you have to understand is, particularly at the dance end of it, it's a business of young, good-looking people. So as you get older, even if you're, I feel like my body's still flying around, but as you get older and look older, certain doors close to you because it's a business of aesthetics. So having to adjust to that and saying, well, then where do I put my effort? What's my smartest thing to do? Because however that affects me doesn't affect my ability to pass it along to others, to help their careers, to mentor and teach. You still have that much to give. Sometimes you wish you could do more for yourself with it, because doors close as you get older just because of the way you look. Simple as that.
Yeah. And if you could pick one standout moment throughout your career to look at and say, this was a highlight for me, what would that be?
To preface it with a paragraph.
Okay.
In fact, this is one of my stories on Instagram. When I was 14 years old, a freshman in high school, I was an inch shorter than this, God forbid, and only weighed 98 pounds. And we used to have required PE, and you do a week of soccer, a week of baseball, a week of basketball, and we had a week of gymnastics. And after the class, the coach came up to me and he said, wow, you should go out for gymnastics team. You could really do this. Now, here I am at 98 pounds. And I said to him, I'm not doing that sissy stuff. I'm going out for football. And he looked at me and he said, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I'm going out for football.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And he thought for a minute and he said, I'll tell you what. He said, I'll make you a deal. You go out and practice with the gymnastics team for a week. If you don't like it, I'll let you come out for football. Went out for the gymnastics team, fell in love with it, had a career as a gymnast. Now, you can see where eventually that pivots to dance.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so years go by. Now, that coach went from coaching high school to junior college to the pros, to the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you his name. His name was Dick Vermeil. Football fans will know that name. When the Rams were in St. Louis, the year 2000, he won the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
That coach
Wow.
that had gotten me into this. Now, but here's the highlight. He won a Super Bowl. A week after that, was working on my rhythm act stuff. I performed in Long Beach, California.
Yeah.
And it was the first time as a solo act, I got a standing ovation. And rather than be so thrilled that I got a standing ovation, all I could think was, thank you, coach.
Mm.
That's the highlight of my life.
Oh, I could cheer up. I love that. He
saw something in me that I wasn't aware of. And that's at Dance Teacher Web, we did a little end note speech. And I said, be open to what others see in you. They might see something that you don't even see, that you can run with and be successful at and learn to love. Imagine if he hadn't said that and I never became a gymnast or dancer.
Mm.
Well, it might have been okay as just a drummer, but I think this has been richer.
Mm-hmm. Mm. I'm just soaking in that because I'm like, I'm getting teary-eyed at the moment. Because like how...
I owe him, yeah, everything.
Mm.
He's retired now and he's in the Football Hall of Fame. Yeah. But you see how you affect people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
Just a comment or something you see.
Mm-hmm. And that like it does and it doesn't ties back to what we mentioned earlier. Like if you see someone or know someone and you like have it on your heart to tell them
yes,
that they're really great at this or they need to keep doing this or like, hey, have you ever thought about this? That goes so much deeper than just giving them a compliment or just giving them a, I don't want to say guidance, but just whether it's your opinion or like, hey, have you ever thought about this? Just giving your thoughts to someone goes so much deeper than you probably ever know.
You can spark something that really turns into something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
for sure
can make a beautiful impact on the world because I can only imagine the stories that people also have about working with you being great and fabulous and, all of that. Because from that, what do they call it? Is it the butterfly effect, right? From one beautiful moment like that turned you into this amazing teacher, choreographer, icon in the dance world and how you've impacted thousands and thousands of people from there teaching and everything you've done. I can only imagine.
I think now about the people I trained, even going all the way back to LA, that are teachers and choreographers and master teachers themselves now.
And I bet
that you've probably taken from.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can only imagine the people within that community as well that could probably say the same thing about you. Whether it was something you said or helped them with or I know there's people out there still saying, Tony Coppola used to say this.
Well, because the things my teacher said, it still rings in my head.
Yeah.
During quarantine, that was probably the best my mental health has been in years because I was forced to stop and do nothing and not stress and just be home, and I never thought like, oh, I'm not going to go back to it. Right. But I sure went, fuck, I need a break.
I needed this break badly. So that was sort of that, you know, I knew I was going to go back, but I knew when I went back, I should be a little more chill. And of course, it's 2025 now, and that has gone out the fucking window. But, you know, seriously, for a couple years after that, I definitely was like, you need to stop booking every single thing. Look at how nice you feel right now, you know. And also, I've always said that I'm a bad actor and that I'm a bad performer because I don't need it. I love it with all of my being. And I love doing it. And I do need to do it for like, I need it in the way that I need it for me. I need to do it to feel fulfilled and all that stuff. But I don't need the outside validation. And so I've always said I'm a bad performer because like what performer doesn't like, isn't Tinkerbell? It will die without applause, you know? And I
the good ones.
I guess because you know what I mean? I wasn't sitting there like, oh my God, how can I didn't have like an identity crisis. And I know plenty of people did. Like I saw crash outs all over the internet because people were like, who am I without performing? They didn't, you know what I mean? I need to be in front of an audience. I need people to see me. And I've never felt that in my life. If I'm performing, like, yes, I expect you to clap for me. Like, fucking appreciate what I'm doing for you. But I'm never like, oh God, I gotta, you know, I'm not like, I need a hit. I need to get out there. I need people to, you know, I need people to watch me. I need to be seen. I'm like, I'm doing it for me. I did a couple like online concerts during quarantine and I put on concerts in front of my house. So I did patio concerts for my neighbors. And they love it, you know, they would come, they would sit on the sidewalk, they'd bring wine and snacks. But it was more for me being like, I need to keep this up. Like I can't just sit in my house for a year and not perform. Like I need to physically, I need to do it. And I felt like it was a nice thing to do for them. It wasn't because I was like, oh fuck, I gotta see the people. They need to, you know, they need to watch me. So yeah, it's never been like I'm gonna quit because I can always do something else as well. I'm never, unfortunately, because of the way the business is, I'm never like just relying on the performance stuff. I've always got something else. I have another business, you know, so I always have something else to do to make sure I'm paying my bills. And I love it just as much. And that's just like with the film school. Like I love editing and I love that stuff. So if I'm doing that, I don't feel like I'm losing out. I don't feel like, you know, I'm doing this, but like, I want to kill myself. I'd rather be doing, you know, performing. Like, no, I enjoy it. I love what I do. And then when I get to perform, I'm even happier. But I've never felt the need to be like throw in the towel because I'm always subsidizing with something else that I also enjoy, you know? So I am incredibly lucky in that. Absolutely. But no, because I've never felt like, oh God, I'm going to perish if I don't, you know, get praise. Of course, we all love praise and I want to hear that I'm doing a good job and I want you to enjoy me. But it wasn't like, oh God, identity crisis, because I am not what I do. You know, what I do is part of me, but I am a person separate from it. So I went off on a tangent, but yeah.
No, fabulous. Because I definitely understand. I understand. Like there's so much within the industry that I also love and enjoy if I'm not on a stage. I love, you know, so many things about it that I can stay busy and I can stay being involved and then I can stay all of that without dying of not being on stage. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been on stage. I was a competition dancer for 10 years.
Yeah.
There's nothing I loved more than getting the entire stage to myself for 2.5 minutes when I did my solo. Like, it's bet your ass.
It's preferred. Like, of course, I would prefer to be on stage.
Yeah.
But if I'm not, I'm also not going to be like, you know.
Right. I'm also not brokenhearted on the floor. I can't function.
Right.
You know?
I think it's a good balance. I think that's a healthy thing.
Yeah.
I think it's very healthy. And I hope that during that time, people were able to kind of healthily maybe detach themselves and be like, oh, I'm a full person. You're a full person without being a performer.
Right.
You know.
But there's also so many aspects of actually performing on a stage or in front of a camera that are in other things.
Yeah.
you love dancing with a group because you like being a part of something. So what else is there that you can be a part of?
Right.
You know, where you can collaborate with other people and still feel that sense of community. You know, like there are so many other ways to get that.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, I used to do what you do, except I did it on camera. I had a web TV show for a few years called Vegas 5W, and I interviewed, and we interviewed local shows and performers and restaurants and events and all kinds of stuff. And you know, I was still performing at the time, but it's the same thing. Like I was still on camera and I was still whatever, but I wasn't necessarily performing. I was putting the other person in the spotlight. You know, it was about them, and I was just kind of the catalyst for that. But it was still fulfilling. You know. And it was still creative and all that stuff. So there's always going to be something in the same realm that you can do that'll hopefully like fill that void until you get to be on stage again, which is of course the ultimate. Of course, that's the ultimate goal. You always want to be back on stage, but you can do other great things. And I'm so lucky to have like so many things that I love almost as much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Before the Curtain. Please be sure to rate, review, and subscribe wherever it is you listen to the podcast. We love to hear your virtual round of applause. If you know of a production or artist that deserves to have their story told, send us an email or message us on Instagram by clicking the link in the description.